What is good, YouTube? It's Lazy Daze Tubby back at it again on my solo channel, doing some more history reaction for you guys today. And we have some extra credits, extra history for you guys today. And it's Ibn Battuta, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, Ibn Battuta, The Great Traveller, Extra History, Episode 1. I'm really looking forward to finding out what we have in store in this episode for us today. I do like some extra history. They're a little bit shorter and they're just a little bit more comedy and not really focused on the battle side of things and just some of the other general information. So I'm looking forward to finding out what they've got in store for me in this series today. If you guys haven't already, please head over to their channel. The link's going to be in the description box down below. If you're looking forward to my reaction or future reactions, then like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, but we are going to jump straight into this one.
June 23rd, 1325, Tangier. A 21-year-old scholar, mounted on a donkey, leaves home for the first time. His objective, the holy city of Mecca. He expects to be gone for 2 years, possibly even 3. I set out alone, he wrote later, having neither fellow traveler in whose companionship I might find cheer, nor caravan whose part I might join, but swayed by an overmastering impulse within me, and a desire long cherished in my bosom to visit these illustrious sanctuaries. So I braced my resolution to quit my dear ones, female and male, and forsook my home as birds forsake their nests. And he will not return home for another 24 years.
Wow, 24 years. What did this man say?
When Ibn Battuta left Tangier, he had no idea that he was commencing on a journey so epic, we'd still be talking about it 700 years later. And in his quarter century of wandering, he would end up seeing nearly the entire Muslim world of the 14th century, from the deserts of the Empire of Mali to the Islamic outposts of Indonesia and southern China. In doing so, he would travel around 75,000 miles, enough to circle the globe 3 times.
What a life. Don't you wish you could have, lived a
Meet
life
60
like
heads
that?
of state and visit 40 modern countries. He would survive kidnapping and shipwreck, witness revolts and military campaigns, be imprisoned by a mad sultan, and encounter the horrors of the Black Plague. And when he finally returned, the ruler of Morocco asked him to spend 2 years dictating all he saw to a literary scholar. The resulting book, a gift to those who contemplate the wonders of cities and the marvels of traveling, a title often shortened to The Travels, is 1,000 pages long. Which is sort of a problem if, for example, you're adapting it into a series of 5 short animated videos.
Yeah, of
but
course.
In truth, even if we had 10 times the budget and development time for this series, we still wouldn't be able to do all of Ibn Battuta's travels justice. But what we can do, though, is look at the travels the way historians do today, as a way of understanding the breadth of Islamic religion and culture during the 14th century.
I'm really interested. I might have to give this book a look.
How faith was adapted to local conditions, and the trade and travel links that could take a man from North Africa to China. And of course, we'll look at the curious, intrepid, ambitious, and often quite prickly man who experienced it all. Apart from what we learned from the travels, we actually know surprisingly little about Ibn Battuta himself. But we can be sure his formative years in Morocco were the perfect training for a great traveler. Tangier was not one of North Africa's great cities, but it was a massive trade hub. To the north lay Europe. To the south, the golden kingdoms of sub-Saharan Africa. To the east lay the Mediterranean trade networks, and to the west, the burgeoning Atlantic trade. And its docks thronged with both Muslims and Christians, along with merchants from Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. Ibn Battuta's family were scholars of Islamic law, and gave their son an education that would let him follow in the family tradition. This education made him a qadi, a magistrate or judge of Islamic law. Not only an honorable profession, but one, it turned out, that would let him find work wherever there was a Muslim community. His education also likely instilled the curiosity that would drive him on his great journey. For in Islam, curiosity and the seeking of knowledge is considered a religious duty. In fact, a common saying at the time, seek knowledge even unto China, would really end up becoming quite literal for this young man.
So, I think that's a good trait. I definitely think we in the West should definitely promote seeking knowledge.
But Ibn Battuta's travel experience began by embarking on the Hajj, or annual pilgrimage to Mecca, a religious duty for all Muslim men, if they had the resources, were healthy enough to do it, and their leaving wouldn't place a burden on their family. He set out alone at first, traveling east across North Africa, but soon joined up with a pilgrim caravan for protection against bandits. And they were happy to have him, as having a qadi among a caravan meant that disputes and matters of religious law could be solved without stopping the train. So they crossed the land of the slave sultans, the Mamluks, who had risen from being enslaved soldiers to taking over the state. And though he was not far from home, Ibn Battuta began to reveal what he would be like as a traveler. A fever hit him hard, the first of many on his journey. Soon, he was so ill he could barely stay on his mount. "If God decrees my death," he said, "then my death shall be on the road, with my face set toward Mecca." Determined not to stop, he tied himself to his saddle in order to keep going. But stop he did, and during that brief sojourn, he did a very Ibn Battuta thing. While recovering, he fell in love and formed a marriage contract, but then dissolved it before the ceremony after a dispute with the woman's father. But then shortly afterward, he would meet and marry another woman, the first of 10. Oh, yeah, that's right.
10.
He would marry 10 women on his
10.
journey. Now, we don't
10
know much about these marriages. He simply mentions them in passing, confirming the Islamic literary convention of keeping his private life private. And often, like with his first wife, he would divorce his wives when he moved on. A common practice in medieval Islam, and perhaps these divorces may even have been mutually agreed, since religious law made that the easiest route to ending a marriage.
Oh,
but
okay.
here's where we
That
get
makes
the first
sense.
hint of
That
Ibn
does make
Battuta's
sense.
lifelong fascination
Because, like, I'd like, yeah,
with women.
kind of makes sense.
Wherever he went, along with descriptions of food, agriculture, religious life, and court processions, he often remarked on how attractive he found the local ladies. He was also known to have innumerable lovers and concubines over his life, including several that were enslaved. And it's also at this point we get an early indicator of his, well, let's just call it snippy nature. On a stop in Egypt, he visited the town bathhouse and was shocked to find the men inside were not wearing the hip coverings required by law. Basically, they were naked in the locker room. But now here's the thing about Ibn Battuta. He could get a bit judgy. And if he saw you doing something he considered wrong, oh, he was definitely telling the teacher. In fact, historians often refer to him as a busybody, for being all up in your business. But to put it in a more modern vernacular, Ibn Battuta was a total narc. So instead of just telling those guys to please cover up, he went straight to the local governor and started an official crackdown on proper dress in the bathhouses. Yeah, the phrase, "that escalated quickly,"
That did escalate quickly.
was kind of his brand. But while he
Snitches get stitches. You need to be careful.
often comes off as judgmental, his job was to be a judge. And this trip across North Africa offered him the opportunity to develop those skills. Because while he was fully qualified as a Qadi, the universities of Tangier were provincial when compared to those in Cairo, Damascus, and Alexandria. So as he made his way toward Mecca, he would stop to study for a few months under great teachers, gaining further certifications. He saw the great lighthouse of Alexandria, visited Cairo, which he called the Mother of Cities, passed by the Giza pyramids, and traveled down the Nile, but then was halted by a violent
Wow, imagine that. Just imagine being able to see all those things.
revolt. So he
Something I
doubled back
wouldn't
to
do.
Cairo, and instead took the royal road to Damascus. Diverting for a moment to visit the tomb of Abraham, then the Muslim sites in Jerusalem, he finally made it to the Mamluks' second capital. But eager to move on, he only spent 24 days in Damascus, probably living in the dormitory of the Great Mosque. Though he did pack that 3 weeks full, managing to survive another illness, gaining further certifications, and celebrating
The Pokemon gym badges is funny.
Oh, and of course, he got married and divorced again. That's right, Zoe, because Ibn Battuta. And there he finally joined the official route of the Hajj, across a perilous desert route, haunted by epidemic disease, burning days, and freezing nights. And this time, Mamluk soldiers guarded them from bandits. Yet the caravan made it to its destination without incident, the city of Medina, where the Prophet Muhammad had retreated with his followers when driven out of Mecca. While there, he prayed at the Mosque of the Prophet, built over Muhammad's tomb, before continuing on. Then finally, upon reaching the holy city of Mecca, he took part in the rituals of the Hajj, making several circles around the Kaaba, bowing to the shrine of Abraham's footprints, standing on the plains before the Mount of Mercy, where the Prophet gave his farewell sermon, reciting prayers and listening to religious teachings for a full day. And of course, he studied, seeking always more knowledge. For this pilgrimage had merely whetted his appetite for seeing the world. Not to mention
Yeah, I think once you get a taste, you just don't want to
he
stop.
had come across news that the Sultan of Delhi, immensely rich and generous, was in need of officials with proper certifications, which is why he was building his resume. Fame, fortune, and adventure awaited in the East, and he decided to extend this 18-month trip a little bit longer. So Ibn Battuta turned his mount towards the lands of Muslim Persia and the devastated city of Baghdad.
Well then, I guess that's what we're going to be finding out in the next episode. I am definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, I really enjoy these. They're short. They're a bit more about the culture and yeah, more about the culture and stuff. The political events more so than the battles, which is really nice as well, because I enjoy finding out about the whole entire history, not just the battles themselves. So I really enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to the next reaction. If you guys are looking forward to my next reaction, then like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will catch you in the next video.